Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck Movies. My name is John, and this video is going to be called The Ups and the Ups of YouTube. Now, when I've got this video here, what I'm going to shoot now, I've really got no script to this. It's just going to be off the cuff. So I just want to talk briefly, sort of, about just how I feel about YouTube in general. I had the thought of this video the other day, and I thought, let's talk about YouTube, just in general. And I thought, what's the sort of ups and the downs and the pitfalls, all that type of thing. And I thought, you know what it is? Personally, I'm just feeling like this is great. And I feel like it's good to talk about some in a positive way, like the ups and the ups of YouTube. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to talk about the fact of how, and I think this comes down to the person behind the camera or the person doing the channel. If you take a sort of positive outlook on everything to do with YouTube, I'm just looking to make sure this is recording, and you just think to yourself, right, let's see how good this can be, and go with a positive attitude to say, I want this to work for me, and I want this to be something I'm going to enjoy. I think you're halfway there. So when you put videos out, I'm going to go back to the sort of like the early days when you put videos out and you think to yourself, my God, how's this going to be? Because yeah, everyone's nervous. They'd be lying if they said they weren't. And you do get nervous, and then them nerves sort of go away, and you don't really think about it, and you just put your videos out, and they are what they are. If they get loads of views, great. If they don't, that's just the way it is. That's the way that YouTube speaks about it. I do think as well, if you get a video that doesn't get looked at that much, you obviously have just picked a subject that doesn't is not universal, but doesn't matter as long as you sort of think to yourself, well, I've done something here and I kind of enjoyed that. I think one of my lowest videos has got to do with the Elvis movie. That was a video that I really liked doing. And actually, I went and looked at it a few times because I had a really good time doing it because it was quite a personal video to me to talk about the whole Elvis thing because it was like quite big growing up in me household. And I was glad I made that one, but it didn't get many views. But in a way, it doesn't matter because when you put things out, that's the thing about this thing, this YouTube. If you put videos out and you're happy with them, well, that's it. Now, the best thing about YouTube is you can get in touch with fellow YouTubers and you can talk to them. And it's great because they can pass on a wealth of knowledge. I mean, they've been there, done it, got the t-shirt. So you can say, I'm thinking about this, or I don't know about this, or I don't know about that. There's always somebody there who'll tell you how to go on. It's happened to me loads of times. Someone will say, that's a good idea, that's a bad idea. If you want to do this, try that. Try this form of, like a editing software, which I've tried because I used to do a free one for years, and it just was all right, but it didn't really go where I wanted it to. I wanted it to be like a better experience for people, and it would be better for me to actually edit the videos on. So I got some tips for that, and I went and got it, and it was brilliant. So I haven't looked back since that. It's made the whole YouTube editing, which sometimes it can take quite a long time, a much easier and enjoyable experience because sometimes if you've got to do a lot of editing and put loads of stuff out on the screen, you think, I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I used to always hold my phone up and all that type of thing. But I don't have to do that now. I can just point up there and say, there's that. So you can make YouTube easier for yourself. And I do think that, like I said before, that when you go, if you've got like, you've watched a movie there and you think that's one of the best movies I've ever seen, and you go to work and you start talking about it, and people just do not care. Now, that's not a slant on the people at work. It's just that's not their thing. It's the same if I went in and somebody says, hey, I caught a fish the other day and it was like that long. And I'm like, I used this fly fishing and all that. And I said, and the rod was from God knows where, and it was titanium, and I stood there for 3 hours, didn't get a bite, and I got one on. It took us like 3 hours to reel it in. I'm like, so the best thing on here when you've got a passion or a niche, you can just talk about ad nauseum, and there's always somebody who's interested in what you've got to say, and you can pull out the most obscure title. And you can say, look at this, and someone say, oh yes, and you can get that sort of that banter going and that sort of chats in the comments, and people can sort of like talk about what they've got, or they might say, do you know that was cut? You can get a better one here. There's a wealth of knowledge out there, but unfortunately, when you're sort of with people who don't want to know about that, you don't have that two-way sort of street. You just end up not talking about it. Now that's happened to me loads before. I got into YouTube. Now I'm in YouTube now. I can talk about all this stuff, all day, every day. You can talk about it as much as you want on here. You can make as many videos as you want about a certain subject, and then you can get like offload that experience because you can say, right, I've talked about that whole thing. It might lead you on to someone else you don't even know about. and you might learn something. Well, you will learn something in the comments, and it's a great feeling to be on a platform where you can do that, as opposed to being in one where, like, you can say your life is a platform, and when you're talking about stuff that's like of no interest to a certain person, and that's no slight on a certain person, you kind of can feel a bit deflated because you can say, "Oh, I watched that film last night; it was absolutely brilliant." And I wanted to tell some about it. And sometimes when you tell them, you just might turn around. That sounds like the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard in my life. And you might think, yeah, but it's so you get frustrated because you say, well, why wouldn't you like it? And they say, well, I don't like martial arts. I think it's stupid. And you go, well, it's not. And then you just think, well, what's the point? But in here, you can talk about your martial arts, love for martial arts. And even people who don't really like that subject, they might say, well, it's not for me, but that sounded like a good film, or that sounded like a movie that I might want to check out in the future. I've got loads of recommendations from here by just making a video. And then someone says, yeah, but what about this? What about that? So you go down this other avenue, the one that you would have never known about. So it's kind of educational as well. I find that this is, like I say, it's a big boost to my the social side of things. I do now quite enjoy. Well, I do enjoy meeting people. I see people quite a lot. I think at the start of YouTube, if someone said to me, "You're going to meet loads of people, you're going to talk with them, you're going to be whatever," I'll be no, I don't really fancy that. But now I'll actively seek out stuff like that. So I feel it's made my confidence and my social socialness much better than it ever was. I feel like it's if you're a bit introverted, it'll bring you out of your shell. But it's just my views on this platform. I do think it's a great platform for what it is. It's allowed me to do whatever I want to do, actually, within the rules of YouTube. But yeah, that's another story. I mean, it's just you play the game, and you do benefit from it. Yes, you're not sort of like bowing down to them, but you're going within the rule book, and you can do anything. Well, I've done everything I wanted to do. The only thing I don't do is swear. I talk about highly controversial things. I do, but I don't talk about the words that I show highly controversial pictures. It is what it is. You can't do anything else about it. And I do think that this has made me broaden my horizons for a lot of stuff with movies. It's like socializing, got a lot more friends. And the great thing about here on here, you've got a lot of people who are kind of looking out for you, and they will. You can talk to them about anything. You can get in touch with them, just talk to them about not doing movies, just to talk about life. Just say, "Oh, this is happening, that's happening," and everyone's like listens to what you're saying, and everybody wants to know, and everyone gets in touch with you, and you get in touch with people, they get in touch with you. It's great to have that kind of behind the scenes network. So my experience with YouTube has just been positive. I've just met loads of people. I've met loads of like-minded people. I've just got to talk about all of this stuff all the time for years. Everything I want to talk about. If I want to pick a movie out there and talk about it, I can just go look at this one, talk about it. Anything that I want to do, I can do on YouTube within reason. And it's a great feeling that you can do that. And how good is that? How much of a positive is that of you to come on and just say, I've been dying to talk about these movies to somebody, but nobody cares less about them. Well, it will on here. Somebody will love this stuff. And you will build up that relationship with that person. Maybe they've got a like-minded channel. Then you form a relationship with them. Maybe you can do a sort of a live stream with them. Maybe you can do a sort of collaboration with them. And, that's how you forge your relationships on here. And you meet some great people on here, and I met so many generous people on here as well. The stuff that some people send me is just absolutely amazing. Stuff that I would have never even knew existed, never even dreamed of owning. And now I've got them here. I've got it's baffling to know that this world is out there. And when you come into it, you do think that, what's this all about? But I can tell you, with a positive, I mean, the only thing I brought to the table on this one is just the positivity to say, right, I'm going to enjoy this. So to recap, that's why I've called this video the ups and ups of YouTube, because they're there. They're there to be seen. Yes, everything, you can't show all the pictures you want to show. You can't use all the words you want to talk about, but you can navigate in other ways. It's not a big deal. That's the main thing about YouTube. Don't make it out to be anything bigger than it is. I mean, I'm just here talking about things I like to talk about, nothing else. There's nothing else that I do on here that just means I just want to speak about this or speak about that. That's it. or show things or just talk about things in me past that I just like to share. It's great actually to talk to people. That's one thing that's really like been great for me, to share parts of your life when you say, "Oh, this happened to me when I was a kid," and you get people coming on saying that exact thing happened to me, or I felt exactly the same way about that certain thing. It's great actually. It's kind of being able to be reminiscent. And sometimes when you reminisce with people who haven't got that experience, you just say, "What's this rubbish you're talking about?" But to us, it's not rubbish. It's the stuff that kind of fashioned our life and made us what we are. So hopefully this video has come across as being what it's meant to be, just a positive affirmation of YouTube can be brilliant if you want it to be, with only just taking into it one thing, a positive mental outlook, and just saying, let's have fun with this and just see where this thing goes, because I can tell you one thing, I'm having a real good time here. So that's what you call the ups and the ups of YouTube. So thanks for watching. You take care, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.